Thank you, man. All right, this is probably gonna be a short lesson. Um, 'Cause there's some bombs in here, but yeah, we're gonna keep them pretty bare. So this is discipleship course. It's course lesson 7. Then lesson 7 has all to do with the story of Moshe, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had to entitle this, and I toiled over this. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna entitle this, yeah? So I entitled it I Am, as in I am that I am. I am the bread of life. And the reason I entitled it the bread of life is because Yah's bread is his will. And so when we read about bread in scriptures, it speaks to the will of Elohim. So when Yahshua says, I am the bread of life, he's talking about he is the will of Elohim for your life. His life, the way he lived it, and the things that he taught is the will of Elohim for your life. Of course, this is within these 3 chapters is the chapter in which Yah gives forth his Torah, right? And Torah is the bread of life. I'm gonna need y'all to take that rain back. No, just kidding. But yeah, so Torah is simply Yah's will. You may recall a time when Yahshua hadn't had anything to eat physically, and so his disciples were getting on him and they were asking him, and they were saying, hey, you need to eat something. He says, I have food you know not of. Yes, he says, my food is to do the will of the Father which is in heaven and to finish his work. See, that's what food is, spiritually speaking. It's the will of the Father. And this is all Torah is. It's just the will of the Father. Amen.
Yeah.
So that said, I pray that you can see the connection betwixt my title and the three chapters. Amen. So within these 3 chapters, there are some characters, some interesting characters, some interesting stuff in these three chapters. So we have Israel, definitely a character, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we have Israel, but then we have the house of Yaakov.
Oh, yeah.
And I see that, Kurt, he picked up on that one. Yeah, so that was interesting. We have Israel, we have the house of Yaakov, but, one that a lot of people may not have picked up on is the children of Israel. And then we had the elders of the people.
Yeah.
And even though many may not have seen this next one as a distinction, it very much is a distinction. And so I characterize them in and of themselves. And that is the people. And the reason that I put that there is because, within these chapters, there are some distinctions. Y'all's making some serious distinctions here. And if you look at where these distinctions are made, they paint a picture. They're saying something. And it's pretty profound. But he speaks of the house of Yaakov, he speaks of Israel, he speaks of the children of Israel, he speaks of the people. What people? They're just called the people. Who are the people? Yeah, who are the people? should especially be asking who are the people when you're speaking about Israel and you're speaking about the elders of well, we know who the elders of the people are. They're the elders of the people, whoever the people are. But when he's making a distinction between the house of Yaakov and Israel and the children of Israel, it makes you wonder who are the people. It's not too hard to figure out, but yeah, there is a distinction, and that's what I wanted to point out. Because after all, this is a discipleship course, and we're to be students of the word, okay? And so the word is trying to teach us something, but this kind of stuff usually go over students' head. They never even see it. They never even see it. They never give it a second thought. They read in their mind, it's all the same. But it isn't. It clearly isn't. And that's the point that I'm trying to stress here. I'm not just trying to stretch out the lesson, but it's a very important point. Because Yah could have just said Israel and just left it at that. Or the house of Yaakov and just left it at that. Why did he have to make all these distinctions? He didn't. So why did he? Trust and believe is for a reason. Because Yah doesn't do anything by happenstance. It's for a reason. All right, so we had a couple more characters that we're well familiar with, and that's Aaron, Moshe and Aaron. And then we had another character, Elohim. Yay. And another character, Yahuwah. And I pray that at this point, folks are seeing the distinction betwixt these two, betwixt Elohim and Yahuwah. I pray that, at this stage of the discipleship course, folks are actually seeing a distinction betwixt Yahuwah and Elohim, because there is definitely a distinction, and it's pretty prevalent. So those are our characters. Now, within those characters, we have some main characters, of course. And our main characters is, of course, the star of this this lesson 7, which is Moshe, played by Charleston Heston. All right. And then the next main character is Yahuwah. But the question should be asked, why is Elohim not a main character? Huh? Why is Elohim not a main character? Say a lot. And then another main character are the people, or characters, but we just group them as the people. People are definitely a main character as well. All right, so then we have a setting in which all this takes place, right? It's interesting. Setting takes place in the 3rd month. Now, the 3rd month actually has absolutely nothing to do with this young lady. I just figured I'd point that out. It just so happened that her picture had the right wording next to it. So I had to work with it, this has nothing to do, outside of the words 3rd month. Yes. But thank you for lending yourself, whoever you are. So part of the setting is the 3rd month, right? Because all this takes place in the 3rd month, which is, as Brother Kirk pointed out, brings about the end of spring. Not exactly in the beginning of the 3rd month, but, you're getting towards that. Now, another part of the setting, which is interesting, was also on the 3rd day. What's with this 3rd thing? right? You know, so it's third month, third day. Yeah, interesting, right? Say the least, say a lot. And then another part of the setting was where it was, not just when it was, but where it was, and that was the wilderness of Sinai. And in the wilderness of Sinai, they had these beautiful little geckos like this. You know, yeah. And this one does not work for Geico. You know, you know. So yeah. So also a part of the setting wasn't just the wilderness of Sinai, but also Mount Sinai. Yes, yes. Mount Sinai is very important part of the setting. You know, because the people were in the wilderness of Sinai, but Yah was on Mount Sinai. Yeah. Sound the same, but they're different, right? Of course they are. So much so that there was a perimeter put around the mountain to make certain that none of the people of the wilderness came on the mountain. And there's another big part of the setting that I think a lot of people overlook. Let me know if anyone got this one. But a part of the setting was the fear of Elohim. You see, this is an intricate part of the setting because the text clearly shows that the people were in great fear. So much so that they were separating themselves from the mountain where Yah was. They were separating themselves from where Yah was. They were separating themselves from Yah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. You know, so that's pretty important, you know, because the next time that Yah will come and visit, again, they separated themselves from him. Say loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely a part of the setting. So then we have a plot, right? And the plot was really just centered about, you know, Yah's Torah, you know, him giving his Torah. That's pretty much the long and short of it, right? But we have some points of interest that I wanna at least know. And one point of interest is, why is there a distinction betwixt the house of Yaakov and the people and the children of Israel? Why is there a distinction betwixt these things? I mean, because you could have easily used one of the terms for all of it, you know, and just, you know, not have went through the trouble, right? You know, so why does that exist? Or why are those why do those distinctions exist? Another point of interest is, why the third month and the third day? What's up with that? You know, how come it couldn't have been the third month and the first day, or the third month and the 13th day? Also, why did y'all come in the morning? How come he couldn't come during the day or during the evening, late afternoon? Why had it be in the morning? Another point of interest, why did the people have to be sanctified and put on clean clothes when they couldn't even approach the mountain? It's not like they was going to be with Yah. They couldn't even approach the mountain. Another point of interest is why only Moshe and Aaron was called to come up into the mountain. Why not anyone else? During this time, we know later on, they're going to be called up. Why not now? Now, I have another one. Point of interest is why doesn't any of y'all's judgments involve prison time? Now we look at our judicial system. People do stuff wrong. They go to prison. Amen. Where did that come from? What's the roots of that? Because we see here, at least according to these 3 chapters, it didn't come from Yah. Don't really see that, here, right? Another point of interest is why does Yah reference his commandments when he mentions loving him? When he mentions that his people should love him. Why does he reference his commandments? Say a lot. Another point of interest, why does Yah reference the children of Israel concerning them being a peculiar people, treasured by him above all people? Talking from heaven, making a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, and the making of an altar of earth that is to be made unto him. Why does he reference the children of Israel when he mentions these things? For everything else, he make no mention of it. Everything else, he's speaking to the people. But these things, he's speaking to the children of Israel. Why do you think that distinction is there? And you think there's no difference between the people and the children of Israel? It definitely is. Now, another point of interest is, I think that was my last point of interest. Yeah, that was my last point of interest. All right, so we have some conflict. Well, we have a conflict. And we actually don't have a conflict resolution yet. The conflict is with the people, not the children of Israel, but with the people versus Moshe. Now the conflict was concerning Yah, but the people were too cowardly to address Yah themselves, even though he was there. You finally get him in your presence, and now you don't want to have nothing to do with him. Okay. So, who do they take their problem up with? They take it up with Moshe. And they tell Moshe, hey, we're gonna need you to be our intermediary, like you've been doing. I know, you wanted to, God wanted to come, and show himself, but I want you to continue playing intermediary. Go tell your homeboy that we don't want him to talk to us anymore. That he can talk to you, and you talk to us. And whatever you tell us to do, we'll do. How about that? And so this was the conflict. And it has no resolve as of yet. So we're going to have to wait for coming chapters, to see the resolve, which brings up the point of next week's lesson, which is going to be chapters 22, 23, and 24. So 22 through 24. And we're going to take bare bones. So extract the bare bones from chapters 22 through 24. And that's all I have for you today concerning this chapters 19 through 21.